Hello, everybody, and welcome. Today is Wednesday, June 3rd, 2020. Welcome to this morning live stream. Good morning to those of you on the East Coast and throughout the country. Good afternoon to my international listeners. And in some parts of the world, it might be evening. Good evening to you. We will get started shortly. I don't intend to be here long. I actually have to run around 12-ish, 12:30-ish. So I'm actually aiming to wrap this up at noon. So hopefully it'll be a quick live stream. We'll see. But welcome, everybody. We're continuing to have the discussion. I feel like now is a good time because people are actually listening. People are open to discussion. People want to talk solutions, what they can do. So I feel like I can offer at least a little bit to the conversation. So I intend to. Welcome. As the room fills up, we'll get started here shortly. Thanks, everybody. All right. Good morning. Good morning. We have Canada, the UK in the house. Welcome, everybody. Apologies if my voice sounds a little hoarse. It's still my morning voice. It'll warm up here eventually. So, why don't we continue on the conversation that we started with the last live stream? There's lots going on right now, all across the world, all across the country. Deep unrest, protests, uprisings, National Guard getting called in, all kinds of madness, right? And for the record, I would like to go on record and say I don't condemn the protesters, rioters, or the looters. But that's a completely different conversation for a completely different day. We're not here to discuss the morality of that. We're here to discuss how racism lives in the policies and the procedures. So this is an idea that I brought out in the last live stream. If you have not had a chance to watch that one or you haven't had a chance to finish it, the premise of that live stream is, yes, we know racism is a problem, but racism lives in the mind. The actual issue of racism dwells in a person's mind. And until they speak it or write it on social media or say something out loud or get caught on video, we often don't know it exists in that person. And therefore, it's very hard to prove until it comes out in that way, right? However, what can often be proven are the policies and procedures that are inordinately impacting one group of people over another. Now, in the United States of America, historically, the Black community has had difficulties closing that wealth gap because of discrimination, racism documented, and policies and procedures in the past that legally refrained and kept a whole entire community from actively and fully participating in the economy that they were part of, right? So that's where the initial fall behind came from. Now, let's fast forward to 2020. There are still things that are happening today that now impact everybody negatively. But obviously, if there was already somebody who was behind the race or behind in the race, it's going to impact them more. So that's where this concept for me, racism lives in the policies and procedures, comes from. You cannot cure a racist mind, and you shouldn't try. You really shouldn't. It's a waste of time. What you need to try to cure are the things that impact everyone negatively that strangely no one ever seems to talk about. But I think that's why I'm here. I think that maybe that's why God put me on this planet, to talk about the things that people are missing, the things that people aren't seeing, the things no one is discussing. Because if racism ended tomorrow, however we would measure that, and there's your other problem, you have absolutely no way to measure that. But let's just say that we came up with a way of measuring that. And by measurement, we said, okay, racism is over. It ends on June 4th, 2020. Other things still exist that will keep the wealth gap going, that will keep the inequalities going, and that will keep us in a perpetual state of rich and poor. And everyone will be standing around going, but racism is dead. I don't understand. I don't understand why there's still such a gap. Racism is dead. There's still such a gap because racism was all you focused on. You weren't looking around the corners. You got to put the whole puzzle piece together to make it make sense. So that's what we're here to do today. Welcome to everyone in the chat. Hello, hello, hello. I'm excited about this conversation. For those who may have missed it from the last live stream, this may be new news to you, but I am Black. Hey, hi, hello. I am a Black woman. Welcome. Many of you already knew that. A lot of you didn't. So I think it's very interesting. Isn't that funny how a voice, just a voice alone, can tell you so much about a person, and with never seeing their face, your mind will go ahead and paint a picture for you. And some people painted a white woman. Specifically, some people painted a 30-year-old Texas white woman. So I just think it's funny, but I'm not white. I am a Black woman. I've been Black my whole life. So yeah, so welcome. Welcome everyone, one and all races and all ethnicities are still welcome on my channel, always have been, and will always be welcome on this channel. Because part of the main reason for that is because narcissism affects everybody. It's everywhere. It's in every community. It's in every culture. It's in every race. And if we say, oh, only one race are narcissists, oh, you're going to miss all the other narcs in your life. You will. Narcissism is universal. Isn't that something? Narcissism is equal opportunity. So that's why I've never really been race specific when it comes to narcissism. But because of the times that we're currently living in, I think it's time for us to go ahead and have this conversation. Okay? So why don't we get into the actual content for today? Racism lives in the policies and procedures. We're going to start off by taking a look at my Twitter. I do have a Twitter account you should think about go following. I get excited. I tweet in the middle of the night, all kinds of fun stuff. And I write back a lot, and I'm much more active with my responses on Twitter than email, than YouTube. I don't know, maybe because it's right there. I don't know, very accessible. I don't know. But I do have a Twitter account. You can follow me at Exist Permission. So I saw an article this morning and I went and made a tweet about it. And it said, this is from Bank of America News. It says, today we are announcing a $1 billion 4-year commitment to support economic opportunity initiatives to combat racial inequality accelerated by the global pandemic. The events of the past week have created a sense of true urgency that has arisen across our nation, particularly in view of the racial injustices we have seen in the communities where we work and live. We all need to do more. Brian Moynihan, CEO, right? And that's nice. Like, I think something is better than nothing. I would never condemn anyone's attempt to do the right thing. Never. However, it brings us back to the original conversation, which is, okay, you're going to put $1 billion towards economic opportunity initiatives to combat racial inequality. Okay. And what exactly is that going to look like? Like, because racism is so intangible in the sense that it operates in the minds of people, where are you going to apply that $1 billion towards what? Education campaigns? I mean, that's great. You all know how I feel about silos. Silos create racists and bigots and narcissists often. Silos create a lot of different things, often, right? So is it going to be an education campaign, bias awareness training, economic opportunity initiatives? What does that really mean, right? But here's my response to that, which is right up above. It says, this is a nice gesture, Bank of America, but racism lives in the policies. Eliminate some of the fees associated with your checking and savings accounts. Eliminate overdraft fees or lower them substantially. Eliminate minimum dollar amounts for accounts. Eliminate maintenance fees. This is what's crushing people. This is what's killing people. As a Black woman, I can walk into a branch of Bank of America and open a checking account and a savings account. And I have no doubt that I will not be discriminated against when I open those accounts. I have no doubt I can go sit before a teller of a different race and open a checking or savings account and be treated exactly the same as everyone else in terms of doing business with you. I have no fear of racism in that regard. No fear. I have no fear that if I have money in my account and I go to withdraw it, that they're not going to go whisper in the corner and be like, ma'am, can you come with us? No, they're going to verify my identity like they verify everyone's. They're going to give me my money. So I have no fear in that regard. But what I fear are the fees associated with your checking and savings accounts that crush me uniquely, but also tend to crush other people who don't come from money. We'll get there. Thank you for the super chat. M. Sear, it says narcissism is the real epidemic. Yes, it is. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear that because we want so badly to stay focused on the racism. But I'm trying to tell you that that is an intangible battle you will be fighting forever. Forever. And that's why people are so confused. They're like, okay, I want to help. How can I be an ally? And sometimes people will literally respond, well, don't be racist. They're like, but I'm not. And it's like, but yes, you are. It's like, no, I swear I'm not. And here's the thing, that person may not be, but that person might be someone who has influence over policies and procedures that negatively impact people. Let's talk about it, you guys. I wanted to give you guys a little bit more context on what Bank of America. Oh, okay. So they did get a little bit more specific. I'm sorry, I'm being a little bit facetious and jumping the gun. So I take back a little bit, but let's go. Let's look at what they say. Bank of America announced today that it is making a $1 billion 4-year commitment of additional support to help local communities address economic and racial inequality accelerated by a global pandemic. The programs will be focused on assisting people and communities of color that have experienced a greater impact from the health crisis. It's not just the health crisis. It's like history, but we'll get there. Apologies for the background noise. I have a puppy now. Some of you guys already know that. Some of you don't. Yeah, I have a puppy now, and she's trying to destroy her leash. Underlying economic and social disparities that exist have accelerated and intensified during the global pandemic. The events of the past week have created a sense of true urgency that has arisen across our nation, particularly in view of the racial injustices we have seen in the communities where we work and live. We all need to do more. Yes, we do, Brian. And you know what part of that more is? It says the events of the past week have created a sense of true urgency. I'm sorry. Underlying economic and social disparities that exist have accelerated and intensified during the global pandemic. Yeah, you know why? Because y'all wouldn't come up off of rent. Half of the whole country shuts down, really the whole world in terms of the economy shuts down, with the exception of essential businesses. People are out of work. Business owners can't run their business, so they can't have their employees come in. You launched this goofy program that you funneled through the banks like you, to get money to people, half of whom still haven't received their money. Half of people haven't received their unemployment checks, unemployed due to no fault of their own, unemployed because the state, local, and federal governments told them you can't operate right now. Your business cannot operate right now. You must stay home. So in compliance with that, they had to go home and stop working. So what are they supposed to do? Manufacture money in their basement? Then you vetoed, not you, Brian, all of y'all, your people, your folks, vetoed the $2,000 a month for every American adult. You vetoed that. And then you wonder why people are crying out in the streets. Yeah, it's for the racial inequality and racial injustice, but people have just reached their wits' end. You don't want to really help people. This $1 billion, why don't you chop that up and distribute it among the American people? These little programs y'all have been designing for years now, some of which I've taught before, they're not working, honey. They're not addressing the real problem, which is people like you. The people who run these banks, run these institutions in the back pockets of these politicians and corporations, designing the policies and procedures that hold everybody down and impact the Black community disproportionately because they were already behind due to policies and procedures of the past. This is the issue. I wish you guys would let me in these rooms with you, but you won't. I've tried. You don't want to hear from someone like me. And I don't mean that from we don't want to hear from a Black woman. What I mean is you don't want to hear anyone speak the truth directly to you, directly to your face. You don't want to hear it. You silence voices like mine. Voices like mine have been silenced in corporate America. I gave up. I'm through fighting that fight. It's a fight I'm not fighting to be heard in the walls anymore. Now I'm being heard outside of the walls. How about that? But my point is, when you say things like underlying economic and social disparities that exist have accelerated and intensified during the global pandemic, you need to finish the sentence. Because of people like me and my peers, we refuse to do a rent strike, even though we could. We were indemnified to the tune of millions of dollars, and yet we're still demanding payment from our customers, demanding payment, threatening foreclosures, threatening evictions. How dare you? And I know that's happening to Black, white, Hispanic, and everyone else in between, but imagine who it's happening to the most. So when you say you want to fix a problem, you want to fix racial injustice and racial disparities, you need to fix the policies and procedures that create it. I know you're not racist outwardly in the traditional sense. I don't think you attend Klan meetings on the weekends. You might. You're not outwardly racist. You have Black friends, right? You hire Black people, right? You're not outwardly racist. That's not what's crushing us anymore. What's crushing us are these policies and procedures that we're going to get into. Let's keep going. The work builds on economic mobility and workforce development programs Bank of America already supports in local markets, but will sharpen the focus of that work, accelerate the resources, and add a particular emphasis on health services during the pandemic. The announcement is aligned with the company's commitment to responsible growth for clients, shareholders, employees, and communities. Areas of focus will be health, jobs, training, reskilling, upskilling, support to small businesses, and housing. The programs will be executed through the company's 90 local U.S. market presidents and non-U.S. country executives to help develop the opportunities to execute on these commitments in areas that include virus testing, telemedicine, flu vaccination clinics, and other health services with a special focus on communities of color. Still got to pay the rent. Partnerships with historically Black colleges and universities and Hispanic serving institutions in the United States for hiring, research programs, and other areas of mutual opportunities. Still got to pay the rent. Support to minority-owned small businesses, including clients and vendors. Still got to pay the rent. Career reskilling, upskilling through partnerships with high schools and community colleges, and still got to pay the rent. Operating support and investment for affordable housing neighborhood revitalization, leveraging our nearly $5 billion in community development banking. $5 billion in community development banking, but you still got to pay that rent. Further recruitment and retention of teammates in low to moderate income and disadvantaged communities to build on work the company has already done to serve clients locally. So in other words, hiring people out of the hood. You can say it, it's okay. And not running them out because they're so different from you culturally. Is that what you're saying? You can say it, it's okay. It's fine. Hold on one second. We're going to talk about those cultural differences in a different live stream. I almost did that one this morning, but I need to find something. I need to find a letter I wrote when I was working for this one company because it details everything that was happening. And I never threw it away because I thought I might need it one day. And well, would you look at that? I do. Okay. So let's talk through this a little bit. Okay. Again, I don't ever want somebody to be like, PCE, you say they don't do anything, then they do something, you're complaining about it. I'm not complaining, y'all. What I'm saying is, this is great, but we're going to have this conversation again a year from now when there's more problems and something else has taken place because nothing has changed. We already have programs similar, but you would have to ask yourself, if these programs didn't exist previously, why not? Why just now? It takes rioting in the streets to get changes made. Well, that's why people riot and loot in the streets. Yeah, loot. Yeah, all of that, because that's what gets your attention. That's the only thing you care about, money and property. That's it. You don't care about safety. You proved that this year. Safety is not one of your concerns. You care about money and property. That's it. So when people are quietly asking for things, speaking with a quiet voice, speaking in complete sentences, using proper spelling, grammar, and punctuation, you don't hear the people. You ignore it. But when things start burning, now we have initiative programs coming out, which is great. Don't get me wrong. But let's talk about what the real problem really is. And then we'll visit this a little bit more and then we'll wrap this up, okay? Hush, kitty cat. Okay? So, like I said, my pets are being poorly behaved right now. Would you stop? Both of you? Okay? Racism lives in the policies and procedures, okay? And really that is more of a catchy title than anything else. It's not racism because I don't think when they're making these policies and procedures, I don't think they're, oh my. Could you stop? Wow. I don't think when they're making these policies and programs, they're sitting there at their desk going, yeah, this will really stick it to Black people. I don't think that. You know what I think they're thinking when they make these policies and procedures? I think they're thinking, yeah, this will get us a lot of extra money that we really don't deserve. Yeah, this will fleece the people. You have to understand. Yeah, do I believe that there's some level of racism that exists in people at the highest ranks? Of course, right? Of course. But they would never be outward with it because they don't want to lose their jobs. They know that that's not cool in society anymore. You can't be that way, right? So I don't think when they're sitting in the boardrooms, they're like, how can we really devastate the Black community? You know what I think they're thinking? How can we let me put earn in quotation marks. How can we earn more money this quarter without really doing much? I know we'll institute a new fee across the board on everybody, all of our customers, Black, white, Spanish, Italian, Asian, okay? Everybody's going to get this new fee. And because the disparities already existed, it's always going to impact the Black community more because the gap was already there to begin with, you see? It's time for us to elevate this conversation. It's time for us to bring it up. Okay, so let's look at what I'm talking about, what I mean by all of this. Okay, So this is June 3rd, 2020. This is a regular checking account at Bank of America. These are the fees associated with a normal standard checking account. $14 monthly maintenance fee. You can avoid the monthly maintenance fee when you do one of the following each statement cycle. A minimum daily balance in checking of $1,500 or more. So understand what that means. Understand that that means that every single day of a 365-day year, you need to have $1,500 in your account or more. Okay? So that means for some people, they might always have like $10,000 in their account or more. So it doesn't affect them. Do you see? Some people always have $5,000 in their checking account at all times or more. So it does not affect them. Do you see? But some people on any given day only have about $100 to $200 on their checking account, not because they're perpetually broke, but because their $2,000 paycheck deposited, then they had to pay bills. And after they paid their bills, they were left with $250. So what Bank of America is telling you is that if you let your checking account balance slip below $1,500, you're getting a $14 fee for that month. Do you understand? Or they gave you an option, a minimum daily balance in linked regular savings of $2,000 or more. So they're saying, okay, no problem. You don't have to carry a balance in your checking account. Just keep $2,000 in your savings account at all times, and we won't charge you $14 a month. Do you see? Do you understand? Or a minimum daily balance in linked money market savings of $5,000 or more. So you don't have to keep any the checking balance or the savings balance. Just have $5,000 in money market every day, and we won't charge you $14 a month. Do you understand? Or you can enroll in the preferred rewards program and qualify for the gold, platinum, or platinum honors tier for the first 4 checking accounts. Who do you think this is targeted to? No, I don't think it's targeted to white people specifically. I think it's targeted to people who have money already. They're acting like most people have this much money sitting around at all times. And I think if this quarantine and pandemic has proven anything, is that people don't have that kind of money sitting around. You guys don't even have that kind of money sitting around because you were the first ones in line to get your hand out. And by you guys, I'm talking about Bank of America, all these other banks, these major corporations who were the first people who got served, the first people to get their money, and the first people in line to receive a handout when everything fell apart. You don't even have the money. But you think your average everyday American is walking around with $1,500 in their checking account, meaning all your transacting is occurring above that. Who the hell do you think has that kind of money? But I'll tell you who does not. In general, the Black community does not. In general, I'm speaking in general. So when people talk about the wealth gap, the economic disparities, look at the assumption built into this checking account. The assumption is you're going to have that much money lying around. Like they think this is nothing. They're like, oh, that's reasonable. Everybody has more than $1,500 on a day-to-day basis, meaning that the money you're using is above the $1,500. Do you see? Is it making sense? Bank of America, you're giving $1 billion to this program. What you need to do is waive these silly little fees. $14 monthly maintenance fee. Or if you just must collect a fee, make it 50 cents. People won't really blink at 50 cents. It's like, okay, whatever, 50 cents, whatever. Take 50 cents and multiply it by however many customers they have. You're still going to make your money. Racism lives in the greed that designs these policies and procedures. $14 a month if you don't keep $1,500 in your checking account. But it goes on. We're not done. You thought we were done? It says, so now let's look at the ATM fees. Bank of America ATMs. All right, so there's no ATM fee for deposits, withdrawals, transfers, or balance inquiries. So giving us your money, no fee. You can take your money out, no fee. You can transfer it, no fee. Balance inquiry, no fee. Thanks. Oh, I'm sorry. That's for Bank of America ATMs only. Sorry. Non-Bank of America ATMs, $2.50 within the US. I'm not going to read all that. A lot of banks do this. Some banks charge $3. Now, the bank I bank with refunds that because they don't have physical locations. That bank is Ally Bank. I've recommended them before. No, I don't have any kind of brand endorsement or sponsorship deals with them. I just believe in what they do. So if you want to take your money somewhere else, look into Ally Bank. They refund it each month up to $10. So it's not endless, but if you go to the ATM 3 times in that month, they'll give you your $9 back or however much up to $10. That's what I mean. So because you don't have ATMs everywhere, and I might have to go to this one ATM right here, I'm going to get dinged $250. Now, some people will say, oh, well, $250, that's nothing. You got to do it, multiply that. Multiply it. It's all about the exponential effect. $250 is nothing to you, but to someone else who only has $100 to last them 2 weeks, maybe, that $250 is coming out of that $100. Oh, yes. I just reminded myself. Okay, give me a second. Let's keep going through this really quick. $5 outside the US, card replacement, $5. Overdraft. Let's talk about these overdraft fees. Let's talk about these. Overdraft settings and fees. The overdraft policy. To help you avoid fees, we won't authorize ATM withdrawals or everyday debit card purchases when you don't have enough money in your account at the time of transaction. Thank you. Stop pushing it through. We offer 2 overdraft setting oh, wait, sorry, I got ahead of myself. I got excited. We offer 2 overdraft setting options for how you want us to process your other transactions, such as checks and scheduled payments. Okay, so they're saying that they'll just decline the ATM, which is good. That's what you should have been doing all along. But when other things come in, like you buy something online or a bill or a check, boom, $35 over the head, overdraft on a returned item. That's excessive, you guys. And I understand that you can't be in the business of cashing bad checks. I totally get that, 100%. But $35, really? And then what happens after that? If you were already kind of right on the margin, you get hit with that $35 overdraft fee, then it takes you into the negative, and then they typically will knock you over the head for having a negative balance as well. And then it compounds daily. Hey, Ronald, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. So now you're negative $70 instead of negative $35. So now basically you have to pay the bank $70 to get your account back in good standing. That's what I mean by racism lives in the policies and procedures. You're not owed that $70. You're not. 5, okay. 10, sure. 70, no. Option 2, decline all. $35 per overdraft or returned item. Upon use this setting, if you want us to decline or return transactions if you don't have enough money in your account at the time of the transaction. Checks or scheduled payments will be returned unpaid if you don't have enough money in your account, and we'll charge you a $35 insufficient funds fee. So you're not getting out of it. If you mess up right here, you're either going to get a $35 overdraft fee, if you want them to be completed, meaning they'll pay it, or insufficient funds. You understand? And it's been that fee for the longest time, you guys, since I've been a little girl. Well, not little, but like a teenager. It's been 35 bucks forever. So that should tell you that it's arbitrary, right? Because it would be one thing if it was like $15 when I was 18, then it was $20. Now the overdraft fees are $35. That's a different story because it's kind of changing with time. But nope, back in the day, someday in the past, you just arbitrarily decided that $35 was the magic number. And now what you do, okay, now I can show you this other thing. So give me 1 second. Let me just switch screens. Let me switch screens really quick. Welcome to everyone in the chat. Thank you for joining me today. I just want to show you something real quick because I think this will very much illustrate what I'm trying to say to you. All right, and then let's bring it back. So this is what you have going on, okay? For anyone listening, what's pictured on the screen is a bucket with holes in it, okay? So when we talk about the wealth gap, the economic gap, the inequality gap, all these gaps, and we wonder why it's happening, yes, there is a full conversation to be had. There are other elements that we definitely need to discuss in terms of why it's happening, but we need to talk about the fact that companies like Bank of America are hammering really everybody, but it hammers the person who has the least the most. So if you come from poverty, if you're born into poverty, you're still poor, then as you're becoming a young adult, you're slowly, gradually trying to climb your way out of poverty, and you get hit with a $35 overdraft fee because you just thought there was more money there than there was. You made a mistake because everybody makes those, especially when the bank ties your money up for days. So we're talking about policies and procedures today. One of those that you need to get rid of is all these delays, meaning I deposit a check on Wednesday. There's a possibility I may not see that money till Monday. That's what I mean. So what happens in that period when you all are deciding whether or not to deposit the check is people are transacting, hoping that their math is right. They mess up, boom, get hit with an overdraft or an insufficient funds fee. That's a hole in the bucket. That's a $35 hole in the bucket that needs to be patched now. Do you understand? Here's where the inequality comes in. As a result of our history as a nation, some people's bucket is bigger. So they can take a hit. They can get a hole in the bucket and it's not going to drain their water because their bucket is bigger. Do you understand? Some people are working with a tin pail. Some people are working with a bathtub. Other people are working with an aquarium-sized bucket. Some people are working with buckets the sizes of boats. So yes, if you put enough holes in the boat, one hole in a boat can sink it, but the boat is going to sink slower than the bucket. Do you understand what I'm trying to explain to you? The policies and procedures are creating holes in the buckets of people. And some people's buckets are smaller than others for different reasons. But one of the main reasons some people's buckets are smaller than others are the legal discriminatory practices that took place over the course of the history of this country. Now, what they call equal opportunity is, oh, you're all eligible for these fees. White people can get this insufficient funds fee. Black people can get this insufficient funds fee. Spanish can get this insufficient funds fee. And you're hammering people. It's hurting everyone, but it is always going to hurt the person with the least the most. And when you continue this behavior over the course of some years, it creates a situation, it creates a gap that can never be closed. And as long as we are committed to the policies and procedures that allow that to happen, we will continue to have problems. Another example that's not related to banking is how in most apartments and apartment complexes, and I'm not sure about private landlords, but I imagine it's the same. They can go up on rent at the end of your they can go up on rent at the end of your lease for no reason. Like just using arbitrary numbers. Let's say you signed your lease for $1,200 a month for a year. You paid that $1,200 a month for a year. At the end of that lease, they can go up to $1,400 just because they want to. That's a hole in the bucket. Do you understand? And if you're not now suddenly getting paid more money, if your income is not now suddenly $200 more, then that's a hole in the bucket that you're going to have to figure out how to fill now. Do you understand? I agree. The comment says, let me see if I can get it up. They should have 24 to 48 hour forgiveness windows for overdraft fees. I agree. Because again, yes, we know that some people, let me just turn this ringer off. Some people are out to scam. We know that. Some people are just looking to take advantage. Yes. We know that. But most people are doing the best that they can in terms of managing their money, and especially when your money is not instant. So I did a video on my other channel. I have 3. It's called Pettynomics, Pettynomics, Pettynomics. There's not many videos there, but one of them is called Banks Should Be Open Every Day. And I mean that. And the reason I mean that is because we use money every day. Money moves every day. So banks being closed on Saturdays and Sundays just chokes off the flow of money every week. So when your money gets temporarily paused every week because all these transactions are hung up in the cloud, what do you think is going to happen in terms of people remembering every little thing they did? So yeah, I agree. There needs to be some sort of grace period for these overdraft fees, but these banks, and this is why I don't feel sorry for them. This is why I don't feel sorry for them and what they're going through during this pandemic, because you have been fleecing the country for years, for decades. You've been fleecing us. And part of the reason I've never operated my channel on a race basis is because in the back of my mind, I felt like if white people can see the unfairness in our world in terms of what we're talking about right now, how they too are being fleeced. If they can see it, we can fix racism by default. It'll fix itself by default in terms of the policies and procedures. You understand? So it was kind of like if I can open everyone's eyes to the real problem, all these other problems will fall under the real problem, which is greed, narcissism, inhumanity in general. What do you need a $14 monthly maintenance fee for? Where did the $14 come from? That is such an arbitrary number. And then are you telling me some accounts are going to cost more money to maintain than others? Or excuse me. Are you telling me some accounts don't cost more money to maintain than others? So if I'm a millionaire and I just have a regular checking account, which I probably wouldn't, I'm sure they have different accounts for people with actual money. But let's just say I'm a millionaire who opts for the regular checking account, right? And I do like 1,000 transactions in a month because I'm a millionaire. So I buy a lot of stuff. That account isn't going to cost you more money I'm always calling you, hey, do you see a charge for blankety blank? Oh, it shouldn't be that. That should have fallen. Like you're going to deal with me more. Like you're going to have more issues out of me by virtue of how much money I'm moving through there. But you're only charging me 14 and I'm a millionaire, but you're charging the person who works at the local grocery store 14 too. It's arbitrary. You see? They have a million different ways to make money, but they choose to, let me get this off the screen. Hold on. Uh-oh. Now here it is. Boom. Let me flip flop real quick. Give me a second. Get this big. Boom. Okay. Like they have a million different ways to make money. And this is some of them. monthly maintenance fees, ATM fees, overdraft fees. They are fleecing the country. And in that fleecing, the people who have historically been at the bottom, of course, are going to get fleeced most. I hate when I hear news stories or articles or studies come out and they'll say, blankety blankety blank impacts the Black community. It's impacting the Black community the most. Impact, of course, duh. Like, these are not revelations. It's simple math and history, and a perpetuation of things like this that keep everybody absolutely in the same position that they've always been in. Do you understand? Because of what I was just showing you, because of those holes in the bucket. These are holes in the bucket. And the thing about it is, since we were on that analogy, I was saying some people have different size buckets. Other people have very, very efficient means of patching the holes as a result of all the money that they have. So a hole gets blown in their bucket. They patch it up immediately because they can. A hole gets blown in your bucket, that thing is going to leak for a while. Do you understand? And all of these little fees are bullets. These are bullets in the bucket. And this is just one example. I just gave you another one, which was how they can arbitrarily go up on rent at the end of your lease for no reason. And no raise. That should be against the law. It should be against the law to raise rent on someone who has had no income change. Why would you do that? Why? Mathematically, that doesn't even make sense. Have they reported a change in income to you? So then why are you going up on their rent even $50? What makes you think they're making $50 new? What if they're on a fixed income, like some elderly people are? Where are they going to get $50 new from? This is part of the reason I advocate for UBI, because we are determined to hold these policies in place that harm everyone, really. And no one wants to talk about them. We all want to talk about everything else, but we don't want to talk about this. These are the problems. So I am going to go through your comments really quick and wrap this live stream. That's all I really wanted to say. And my challenge to everyone today, all my listeners, is to think of other examples of this. So this is just one example. This is just one, how the banking systems work. And yes, we have options. We have other banks that we can do business with, but many banks operate like this. A lot of them do. And imagine what that's doing on scale. People are getting overdraft fees on scale, monthly maintenance fees because you can't keep $1,500 in your checking account every single day of the month. You see what I mean? Imagine how much money these banks are raking in. And then want to cry poverty when a global pandemic hits and their customers stop paying them because they can't. And you want to sit back and cry poverty and reach your hand out for a check. I'm disgusted, y'all, on a high level. My disgust is high level. And I have no sympathy for these banks. I don't. And I'm glad that the protesters, rioters, and looters have gotten your attention. I'm glad. Because nothing else will. Nothing else gets your attention. When we stop paying you, though, that'll get your attention, I think. So anyway, let's go through these comments really quick. Then we're going to get out of here because I actually have to take off. So thank you for joining me, you guys. Thank you so much as we continue on our conversation in this very tense time in our world. I guess it's an after show, even though that's really a nighttime thing. I'm just going to throw that up. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Happy Wednesday. All right. I'm just going to run through your comments really quick and then we'll go. Okay. See, and this is a fact I didn't know. It says Bank of America is one of the banks enriched by slavery and racism. So I'd have to look into the history to figure out, the specific origins. Well, you know what? Let's just do that. We're here. What year was Bank of America founded? What? Okay, well, it says it was founded in 1998. So I don't think that that's the oldest parts of our company extend back to Bank of America, our history and heritage. The oldest parts of our company extend back 240 years. Yeah. Since that time, we've come together from many sources to become what we are today, a fleecer. No, I'm just kidding. A company united in our purpose to help make financial lives better through the power of every connection. Get out of here. You're not making financial lives better by charging them $14 monthly maintenance fees. So yeah, you see? Let's see. Welcome, everybody. Let's see. Right. It says, here's the thing. These companies get bailed out all the time. Trump bankrupted his casinos like 3 times. Exactly. And this is what I hope. If nothing else motivates you and moves you during this time, it's this fact alone. I will admit, back in 2008, when it happened the first time, I did not know all of the details or the inner workings. All I really knew was, okay, these industries are very important and they can't fail, because that's what the narrative was, right? And we didn't really, yes, YouTube was around in 2008, but we didn't really have the commenters and the content creators that we have today. So there was really no one out there really doing the deep analysis. I know they were, but I think it just missed everybody what had actually taken place. This time we figured out, wait a minute, you're just basically getting free money from the government. You're getting a complete blank check handout with no stipulations attached to it. And what are we getting? $1,200. And that's it. So if we really want to revolt, the riots are fine, protests are fine. But what we would have to do as a society, as a collective, is stop paying these bills. You've got to stop giving them your money. It's the only thing they care about. They don't care about you burning their business down because they have insurance. They're just going to rebuild it. They don't care. The smaller owners care about your looting because that's probably a family business. So you're hurting a family. But the bigger businesses, the banks, the malls, they have insurance to cover all that stuff. So yeah, it's annoying to them and it's disruptive. But they can recover from that. You know what they can't hardly recover from? Millions of people just stop paying their credit card bills. Millions of people saying, you know what, we don't care about our credit score anymore. F a credit score, who cares? It's oppressive anyway. Millions of people just saying, since you won't provide a rent strike in the middle of a pandemic, we're just not paying you. Call the National Guard in for that. How about that? Call the National Guard to come evict everybody. And then the same National Guard is going to have to move them off the street to where? Not sure. Right? This is how you fight back. You have to stop giving them your money. You have to stop participating. I personally call for a full-scale stop in participation of sports, NFL, NBA, hockey, for whoever watches hockey. Stop going to the game, stop tuning in, stop watching it on TV, stop supporting the whole of it. Stop. Every major next year, since 2020 is already halfway gone, sit out every national holiday, all of them. Sit out New Year's, sit out Valentine's Day, sit out Mother's Day, sit out Father's Day, sit out July 4th, Labor Day, Memorial Day, Easter, Thanksgiving in terms of the consumerism aspect. Stop. Stop. You have to stop. You see what happened when it stopped beyond their control. When the quarantine made them stop. You see what happened. They panicked. They flipped out when businesses couldn't run. They flipped out and said flat out, basically, we would rather die than watch this happen to the economy. You see what's the most important. You have to stop participating. Sit out 2021. 2020 is already gone. It's half gone. We could still sit out Thanksgiving and Christmas. Sit out 2021. Don't participate. Don't buy a single Christmas card, a single greeting card. No wrapping paper. No candies. No Halloween. No costumes. Nothing. Sit out. Sit it out. Sit out and watch what happens. You have to. That's where it hurts the most. I see a $10 super chat came in. I don't know where it came from because I'm a little bit too high up in the comments, but thank you so much for your super chat. I appreciate you so much. And I might get to see it once I start scrolling down, okay? Let me keep going. I'm serious, you guys. This is the next step. We never move to the next block. We march and protest and do all of these things. We never move it forward. Here's the next step. We're sitting out all of the major holidays. That's billions of dollars. Do you understand? All right, let's keep going. Yes, I have quite a little funny farm going on over here. I have 2 cats and a dog now, y'all. And I never thought in a million years I would have me a little puppy. Never. But she is just, she's supposed to be my dog. There's just no question. She's so cute and funny. And if you want to see a picture of them, I do have a picture up of all 3 of them on Patreon. So for as little as $2, you can go see their pretty little faces if you're interested. I think I might start using Patreon for that, just to kind of start sharing a little bit more personal things about me. I've decided, don't hold me to this. I'm afraid to even say this because I'm afraid I'll wake up tomorrow morning and have to make good on my word. But I'm strongly thinking about if we ever reach 100K subscribers, we're at 72.7 right now. If we ever get to 100K, I might start coming on camera because I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Like, you made 100K subs without ever showing your face one time. I think that's fair. But I don't want to hold myself to that because I'm afraid I'll wake up tomorrow morning and I'll be like at 101 and have to start coming on camera. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been thinking about. Because I'm not going to hide from y'all forever. Not forever. Let's see here. Right. I read an article about the IRS doing an investigation on a bunch of rich people here, and they've evaded about 47 billion tax dollars combined. Right. Excuse me. But call everyone else moochers and takers and lazy and, don't want to do their part, but they have elaborate systems to avoid having to pay money. So you see what I mean by sometimes they don't even have to take on a hole in the bucket. They avoid the hole altogether. They make someone else take on the hole in the bucket, like a true narcissist would. A true narc will make sure that someone else uses their resources before they use their own, with the express purpose of saving their own resources. That's a narc. That's going to be a narc. Okay. Yeah, it's economic discrimination. And the race component comes in because historically, Blacks and minorities were discriminated against. So that's where the racism element comes in. And until we recognize that, we're going to be fighting at square one for the next 10 to 20 years. And I'm not doing it. It's a fight I'm not having. Let's see. Yeah, it's financial looting. It's looting. Okay. All right, let's keep going. I'm still here. I'm just scrolling through the comments. All right, you guys. Let's see. No, they weren't. It says those corporations weren't supposed to get that money. No, they weren't. Some of them got it and gave it back, allegedly. But I'm like, the fact that you asked for it at all, like, really? You already have money. You already have access to capital, which is important. That access to capital is so important because did you know you could start yourself a little LLC today, form your little business. You could already be in business, then just become an LLC. Kind of like if I were to ever make permission to exist an LLC and make it a business. Did you know that if I then went to try to get business capital for permission to exist as a business, they're still going to run my social security number. So still, I'm not separated from me. Still, I'm considered the same person. Oh, you and your business are the same person initially. You have to build up business credit. Well, tell me, good bank, dear sir, how do I build up business credit if you're still considering me my business? If I apply for this loan and you're like, put down your social security number, and I'm like, but I have an EIN, TIN, like, yeah, but you're a new business, so we have to go by your social. And I'm like, well, then how in the world am I ever going to build business credit if I'm still considered the same person as my business? Racism lives in the policies and procedures. If I form a business, an official LLC, and register it with the state, I am no longer that. The business is not me. It is a separate standalone entity and should be treated as such. But they keep the chain around your neck by saying, yeah, but we're still going to look at your personal credit. Okay, well, go ahead. Go ahead. Tell me what you find. Let's see what we got going on here. All right. I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap up because I actually need to get out of here. But I thank you all so much for joining me in this morning, early afternoon live stream. Are you saying goodbye? Come here. Stop. In this early afternoon live stream, I'm going to go listen to the playback as I'm getting ready to head out of the house. And I'll be reading through all of your comments on that playback. I've got to find a better format to do your comments. Maybe I'll write to YouTube. I wish they would archive them. So it would be nice as a creator, once a live stream finishes, to be able to go click on like a transcript of the comments. God, that would be amazing. Because then I could just sit with the transcript and just go through them and read them all and comment on them all. I think that would be really cool. But now I'm just daydreaming out loud. Yes, sorry. See there? I got sucked right back in. Overdraft $5 and get charged $35. Yes, that's what we're talking about here. It's not commensurate. It's fleecing. It's looting, and it should be criminal. Criminal. So someone overdrafts their account by $5. You hit them with a $35 overdraft fee. That's a hole in the bucket. And you know what? I think that's a great image to close on. Let me pull that back up. I'm going to pull it over here. And then I'll just let the chat run for a bit because it looks like you guys are still talking and I don't want to interrupt. I don't want to cut you off. So I'm going to let the chat keep scrolling. But I am going to go ahead and wrap the live stream. I appreciate you all so much. I anticipate a few more discussions So we will talk about this. But this will not be the formal direction of my channel, but it's all related, truly. And once you recognize that narcissism is the highest level, you start to see how everything else falls under that umbrella. And then you start to see who and what your real enemy is. Okay? So I hope you guys are hanging in there. I hope you're staying safe. Do your part, contribute whatever you can, keep this conversation going. Don't forget that we do still have whole other situations going on that the news has just casually forgotten about. So maintain your health, stay safe and healthy still, and start thinking about, so your homework assignment for today is what other policies and procedures are affecting everyone negatively, but uniquely harming the Black community and communities of color just by virtue of history. But think through those things and you'll start to see what actually needs to be torn down. And with that, you guys, I'm going to close, but I will let this chat run for a little bit and then I'll end the live stream. Thank you so much. Thank you for the super chats that came through. You guys have a great rest of the week. Okay. Bye.